Hey everyone, Day 3 here from BrightIdeasScouting.com. Just another scouting in the park on this blustery day. So I apologize in advance in case if any of the audio seems a little bit off. There's a lot of wind here today, but I wanted to get out over my lunch break and help answer your questions. So we're finishing up kind of a series of 4 questions that we've been working on. How do we keep the boys involved after Pinewood Derby? How do we keep den leaders motivated after the Pinewood Derby? And what do we do if someone just ups and leaves? So that was our last video. And today we said we would talk about how do we kind of prevent that leader from up and leaving unexpectedly without anything. And let me be the first just to say, no matter all these tips that you do, everything that you follow, you can have the perfect plan. There will be some people in leadership that just will not think about the consequences of their actions towards you, towards the other leaders, and towards the pack. They will just up and leave, even with everything I'm about to tell you in place. That's human nature, okay? But with that being said, we can be prepared, because the scout is prepared, to try and put as much infrastructure in place to help prevent us from being, completely isolated in a position like a committee chair, a cub master, a prominent den leader, or some other committee position and stuff. So the first thing I take a look at is making sure that you've got your key 3 positions filled, okay? Don't have one person doing all 3 of these. What do we mean? Cub master, committee chair, and trainer. That's right. Trainer's included in that. A lot of times we miss the trainer, but this is the person that helps us make sure that everyone has the adequate resources, the adequate training, the adequate knowledge to do their job, because number one reason that people leave is they don't feel successful in their position. So you got to make sure that those 3 key positions are filled: cub master, committee chair, and trainer. Then backfill those positions. Have an assistant committee chair, 1 or 2 assistant cub masters. So if that person is sick or gone, we can still keep moving as we can, and begin to bring in a second person as a trainer, who is someone in the den, in the pack, that has a lot of training. They've done a lot of that online training. Maybe they've gone to a couple council training events, a University of Scouting. Get those, even if it's not the training of, say, den leader specific. If they've gone through a lot of BSA training, even if it's other stuff supplemental, they at least have the style and the understanding and the importance of understanding training. So we want to first of all backfill both of those positions after we've filled those. Okay? Also, as we're starting to backfill those positions, allow them to test the waters. A lot of times if you go to a den leader, as we're trying to backfill the den leader position with assistant den leaders, a lot of times a lot of people are very hesitant and just say, oh, sure, I would love to be a den leader. You might get those occasionally. We have a few in our den that just immediately rose to the occasion. I would love to be a den leader. Got the training that. Others, allow them to test the waters. We talked about in our regular Simple Scouting Minute podcast about ways of encouraging parents to be semi-involved into being more involved, and some tests there. So check out some of the videos on the podcast for the Simple Scouting Minute. You can find that out on iTunes, find that out on BrightIdeasScouting.com/podcast. And there's a bunch of other resources there, so we won't go too much into it here, but just simply allow them to test the waters as you're starting to backfill that position. In the ideal situation, you've got 2 of every position there: a primary person, and then a secondary. And that primary person is really teaching that secondary person. As we try and take a look at the training structure we do, 1 year you're in the role doing the job and training your replacement. Then in year 2, that person you trained rolls into that position as the lead, while you step back for a year and just kind of watch and mentor and disciple everything that's there. They then learn that role for a year, and then in their second year, they mentor their replacement and watching that. So it's kind of a 3-year cycle of one, you're getting mentored for the role, 2, you're in the role itself, and then 3, you're mentoring your replacement. That's ideal. We understand that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you have to just like pull a person aside and say, hey, I'm going to need a secretary for the night. Can you get 2 secretaries? Can you get a team working together for outdoor activity chair, stuff like that. The other thing, indirectly related to this, is just making training a priority. If you make training a priority, doing things like council events, district events, also doing things like Wood Badge, any sort of those training events, then if you just make that a priority and everyone's listening to it and they're constantly seeing it's training, you're going to get people into that role. And as soon as you start to get them into that role, they'll see the importance of training. So make sure as you're getting that district communications from your district executives, your DE, or if your council sends out a weekly or a monthly email of stuff, as a committee chair, cub master, trainer, make sure you're promoting those every single time you're with them. When you meet for your committee meetings, when you meet with your den leaders, make sure that training is a priority. I know a lot of times we kind of take a look at a lot of that training and go, it'd be nice, but I'm not available that time, or something like that. That's where this resource is coming in. That's exactly why we're building BrightIdeaScouting.com. We'd love to give you the training, but you might not be able to come to our round table on this night, this time of each month. You might have the work issue. So promote training. And for those of you out there that want to help promote training, but your people have been reluctant, promote this podcast. Also promote out on Twitter. Our friends at the Cub Scouts, have a weekly event, hashtag Cub Chat on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Central. Even something as simple as that. Can they get on to social media? Can they get on to Twitter and just watch the discussions? I know I've met a lot of new friends out there. Take a look at us. We're at Bright Idea. And it's just great to see all the resources there. So even something as simple as a 1-hour Twitter chat helps to put in the mind of training and stuff. So just really thinking about backfilling those positions, promoting training as something that's very important is going to help minimize, not eliminate, but minimize the amount of people just getting up and going. And so tomorrow, as you've noticed, I've been promoting a lot of this training and stuff. I had a question come in, said, hey, D3, what is Wood Badge? So tomorrow, I will answer that question in the park. As always, learn everything you can, share everything you know, live by the Scout Oath, Scout Law.